Hello all, welcome back. So let us talk further about the Arduino boards. So one of the favorite boards, right? So basically the 80 mega 328p microcontroller, which is a 8-bit microcontroller, which we have talked, right? So supports 23 IO lines. So what is these IO lines? Are basically the GPIO, which we talked, right? General purpose input output, where you can connect switches, LEDs, or use it as control pin for any of the external control, like example gate control of a MOSFET. so all these so all these kinds of applications, to avail all these applications, basically you can use these 23 GPIO pins. So if we see the headers here, so all these GPIO pins are pulled to these headers, all the 23 GPIO pins. And one important point we have to see is we cannot use all the 23 IO lines, because these IO lines are multiplexed with several other functionalities. Like example, we have talked about analog, we have talked about I2C, we have talked about SPI, we talked about PWM, right? So these GPIOs and then UART, basically that's the preliminary thing. So all these functionalities are multiplexed with the GPIO pins. That means a specific pin supports either GPIO or the other function. So ultimately, even the 23 IO lines have been claimed. If you are using the Arduino board for some other interfacing, then you cannot use all the 23 GPIOs. So even if you take any microcontroller, so basically that's a marketing strategy where they claim the IO pins, but ultimately if you use it in application, it comes down to a very low count. Then, if you see the Arduino Uno board, it has basically 4 LEDs. Okay, so the 2 LEDs that you see here are for serial port, which is basically on the UART, where once you see a data, they use whether it's a TX or RX, the specific LED glows. So very important, and it helps to know whether there is a data transmission happening or not. So, and then there are other than this, there are 2 other LEDs. One is power on LED, and the second one is LED, which is connected to the GPIO of the 80 mega 328p. That means you can use it as an user LED. Like example, you can control it using a PWM. You can control it using a simple GPIO on-off toggling. So total 4 LEDs are there, out of which you can play around with the user LED. The others are fixed for specific functions like the serial UART or the power LED. And if you see the Arduino Uno board right here, you see some tilde symbol here, tilde against 6th pin, tilde against 5th pin, tilde against 3rd pin, 9. So what this indicates is basically a PWM functionality. You can see here PWM tilde. So there are several PWM pins that are supported by the Arduino board. So this tilde symbol you see indicates that PWM is used. So where do we use PWM? Basically, we use it in motor control applications, and you can use it for a LED control. Like example, if you want to glow an LED, a simple thing is you can just put your pin high, like output your pin high and keep it forever so that the LED glows continuously. But that is a very power consuming scenario. So you need an application at any situation that it consumes as low power as possible. So in that case, you can do a PWM controlled LED glowing. So which basically you see that the LED is continuously glowing, but ultimately in the background it's a PWM control. That means you are saving some power instead of having it continuously. So a very, very important. So we'll see about that in the future videos. And then another very important point, the operating temperature. So many guys around the world, either they might use the Arduino Uno as a hobby board and try n number of applications, but there are other guys outside where they try they use Arduino Uno for some of their practical applications, so real-time applications basically. So in those real-time applications, it is very important that for a specific project you need to know at what temperature range you can use this Arduino board. Like example, if you see the temperature specification of 80 mega 328p, the operating temperature of this particular microcontroller is minus 40 to 125. It's huge, right? Automotive almost. Yeah. So now, considering that scenario, can we expect the Arduino board to work at minus 40 to 125? No, definitely no. Because you have several components on this Arduino Uno board along with this microcontroller chip. So you have a USB controller, you have crystals, you have electrolytic capacitors. You can see the electrolytic capacitors here. You have regulators, right? There are several things. You have LEDs. So considering all this, you cannot use at minus 40 to 125 definitely. Why? Because is you need to know all the operating temperatures of the existing devices, and the worst case scenario of a specific device need to be considered to know what is the actual temperature at which Arduino Uno can be used. So considering that scenario, if you see the Arduino Uno website, they say you can use the Arduino board comfortably with between minus 25 to 70 degrees centigrade. So that means this basically, if you want to use it in a very critical industrial environment or any other high temperature environments, then you have to think twice to see if this board works. So that's one of the major reasons. So ultimately, the aim of Arduino Uno is not a industrial application. It's a commercial application where people use this board as a hobby project, and develop number of applications around it, and ultimately this is targeted to improve the the code building capacities, especially among the students. So and slowly it gained popularity and it came to industrial applications as well. But considering the temperature range, you know now that Arduino Uno is a no-go if your operating temperature ranges are higher. So this is one of the major question many people ask, or if you ask a guy who is a embedded professional, he'll say Arduino Uno, it's just hobby board. It cannot be used for industrial applications. The reason why he says that is based on this temperature, and it doesn't mean that you cannot take away anything from Arduino Uno. Arduino Uno has its features, has its popularity, and there are number of communities with support, and Arduino community itself is huge, and there are number of websites that do come up with a lot of inputs on Arduino, even our channel, right? So very important point. So it's a big debate always happens between the industry people and the hobbies. And then another important point is we have ADC support, right? That's what you see A0 to A5 on the Arduino Uno board. So the very important thing about ADC, which you want to know about its specification, is the resolution. So the resolution determines the minimum variation of the ADC value, the analog value, which can be read by the particular device, right? So this particular 80 mega 328p supports ADC resolution of 10-bit, and hence Arduino Uno supports a 10-bit resolution. So that's a very important point to remember. And then in Arduino Uno family, there are many boards. Okay, so in that one family, we just compared two boards at a very high level. So if you see both the boards, we have talked about Arduino Uno that you have a USB controller chip, and then you have a 80 mega 328p. But on Arduino Leonardo board, you have a single chip which acts as both the USB controller and the main controller. So it performs both the functionalities. So definitely a low cost and also less space consuming point, right? Definitely you don't need two microcontrollers, you don't consume that much of power, you don't occupy that much of form factor. You can see the board here, and then you can also see the differences between the parts on this board. One important thing you see is definitely the power supply is the same, but the USB programming port you see here, this has a mini USB, and you can program it using a mini USB cable. So, these are differences at a very high level. We will also talk about Arduino Leonardo in future videos. Thanks for watching. If you like our videos, please give us a thumbs up. If you want more information, please comment in below. And if you have any concerns, or if you while talking, if you miss some of the points, or by mistake mentioned any wrong info, please do correct in the comments below. Thank you for watching.